Hi guys, happy Friday. It's April 10th, snowing outside. Look out the window. Can't even believe it when I woke up today. Wanted to stay in bed, but knew I had to get up and talk to you guys today about social studies. So today, because it's snowing, I actually started thinking about where I'd rather be. And I thought, what could I do to help me with that? And luckily for us, it's map day. So you can see here, I've got several different maps that I've brought out today, along with my globe. So let's give a little review quickly about our vocabulary when we're talking about maps, okay? So the first thing I want to actually talk about is the word geography. And geography is the study of Earth and its people. And it includes studying the land, water, and all of the things in the environments on our Earth. And it also looks at how our choices as people affect and impact nature. And the reason I'm going over the word geography with you guys today is because that's really going to encompass all the things we learn in social studies over the next few weeks, because we're going to be doing an animal unit, a habitat unit, and that's why I wanted to tie in the maps today, because as we learn about various animals and classifications of animals and habitats, I want us to be able to locate those places on the various maps, so you get an idea where in the world those things are, whether they're close to where we live, far from where we live, if we're ever to take a trip to one of these incredible places, what we might see there. So that's why I wanted to bring in the word geography. We're also going to be talking about recycling and reusing and things down the way. And so I just thought it was important that we understand the study of geography and what that entails. So it really encompasses a lot of different pieces, really important pieces about our planet and about those of us that live on it. The first word is map, and you guys know we have that incredible map in our classroom. And sadly, here at home, we don't have that big giant map. So that's why I had to go find a few. I ordered one just so we'd have them here at home to use as we go on. So we know a map is a flat representation of a land or an area. They can be paper, they can be plastic, they can be made out of various things, but usually they're made out of paper, I would say. Now, what's interesting is a lot of people might not have paper maps anymore. There's something called Google Maps. So if you have a phone, a tablet, you can just type into Google Maps and all sorts of maps will come up. But if you don't have your phone, or you really want to get more specific and you really want to be able to touch and feel it and pinpoint it and mark where we're going, then we would need a map that you could actually manipulate and move around. The next word is globe. And you guys know I actually was lucky enough to bring my globe home before all of this started. So we know a globe is a 3D representation of the Earth. It's something we can touch, manipulate. It's three-dimensional, which means it has dimension to it. I like the globe sometimes better than the map in the sense that we can see how closely or how far away things are in relation to each other. If we're looking at a map of the world, it looks like the continent of Asia just stops there and that's all there is, like that would be the end of our planet. And of course that's not the case. We know that we live on planet Earth and it is the shape of a sphere. So when you're looking down from space, it's not a flat representation, it's actually a sphere, which is really cool. You know I love my globe. I use it as much as I can. So let's take a look really quick at some of the other maps that I have today. This really quickly, I forgot to put the vocabulary word up here today, but the word atlas is basically just a book of many maps. And my husband, Mr. Bowman, he loves maps. We have a collection of maps downstairs in the basement, a huge basket full of maps. So I knew I was going to be able to find some different maps today. But I also found this atlas. And what it is it's just a book of maps. So this is actually a book of continent maps. So it goes through each continent and talks a little bit about the countries in those continents, So it's really, really cool. So a whole bunch of maps are contained in one place. So it's pretty convenient actually if you have an atlas. So that's one set of maps. Now I was also thinking about, wow, we've learned about the fact that we live in a neighborhood, we live in a city. Our area gets a little bit bigger and we can say, that's my dog, you might hear him bark in a minute. So we know we live in a neighborhood, and we also live in a city, and we live in a county, and then we expand and we can say, yes, we live in a state, we live in a country, we live in a continent, we live on planet Earth. So there are maps for all of those places that I just mentioned. There's a map of your neighborhood actually. There's a map of your city. There's a map of our state. There's a map of our country. So there are maps for each of the places that we live. And what a map tells us is where things are, where things are located. How can we find those things? So I actually went in and on the computer and I printed out a map, and I'm gonna have Laura get really close. And this is a map of Rochester. So just like I talked about, we can print out a map of our city. And hold on, she wants me to change it. Do you want me to change it?
It's upside down.
Oh. We can cut it, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Keep going.
Sorry, that map was upside down, and rather than Laura just telling me that, she was trying to signal to me, and I didn't know what she was saying. So I had the map upside down, my bad. See, we all make mistakes. And this is a map of Rochester. And you can see it's broken out into different quadrants. And our school, I located the streets on the map, and our school is located right here in the northwest quadrant of this map of Rochester. So I actually know the streets that some of you live on, and I could find those streets on this map. So in that regard, it's really helpful. If I wanted to get to your house, this would help me do that. So then as we expand out a little bit, I'll make sure this map is the right way, facing the right way. This is actually a map of the county we live in. We live in Monroe County. All of us do, because the city of Rochester is located in Monroe County. Now, the green circle here is Rochester. Now, I circled some other towns because those are where some of your teachers live. So this green circle over here is my town. So I live in Perryton or Fairport. The purple circle is Miss Ferreira's town. She lives in Brighton. And Miss Friga lives up here, and so does Miss G actually. They both live in the town of Irondequoit. So this map helps us locate various towns and where they are in relation to other towns. So we can see that Brighton is much closer to Rochester than my town of Perryton. So it takes me a little bit longer to get to school than it does Mrs. Ferreira or Mrs. G or Miss Friga, because their towns are bordering or right next to the city of Rochester. So I just thought that was kind of neat to give you guys a visual what our county map looks like and where our homes are in relation to each other. So I thought that was pretty cool. The other map I wanted to show you was, this is a state map. This is our state. This is the state of New York. We all live in the state of New York. This map is plastic. It's like got a lamination on it, so if you spill something on it, it won't get ruined. But when we're looking at this map of New York, our city, Rochester, is right here. This is where we are located in the whole state of New York. Right? Here's Buffalo, Syracuse is over here, Albany, our capital, is on the very east side of the state. So this is a state map. I think it's pretty fascinating. It really shows you all the roadways and how we can get from one place to another. Okay? On all of these maps, there's something called a map key or a legend. And that actually explains what map symbols mean. And it helps us to understand the map better and how to use the map. There's also something called a compass. Now there are different kinds of compasses. On a map, it has a special name. It's called a rose compass or a compass rose. I'm actually not sure which one is correct. Maybe they're both correct. When I did the research, it was used both ways. And that actually is an instrument or tool that shows the direction. So you would know which direction to go to. Do you need to go north to get to your town, south to get to your town? When I looked at that map just a second ago of our county, here's Rochester. And if I was going to go towards my house from work, I would have to go southeast. Right? So I would go southeast. And let me show you. Actually, here's the map and the legend right here. And I'm going to show you a bigger one. I'm hoping Laura can zoom in on these other maps as well. But this is the legend or the key, and it gives you information about the map. Right, let's see if I can find some over here on these other maps. Oh yeah, perfect, right here. Here's the key or the legend for this map of the United States, so our country's map. You can see here that if I find a circle with a star in it, that's our nation's capital. So that would be Washington, D.C. If I just see a plain red star, it's our state's capital. So when I go up here, well, first of all, here's our Washington, D.C., our state's capital, our national capital. That means the United States, the capital of the United States. And again, I'm looking for a red star in my state, in our state of New York. So let's see if I can find a red star. Oh, there it is. Exactly. And that tells us the capital of New York is Albany. So that's something we can find on the legend or the key. A black dot tells us it's a city. This little black square indicates there's a national monument there. The tree tells us there's a national park. Very cool. If you're somebody that likes to go visit parks, that would be very helpful. You'd be able to see which states have national parks. And then these other lines here tell us about boundaries. So when I look at New York State, that's the boundary. There's a nice black line, and anything beyond that black line would be a different state. Okay? And it also tells us how far, the distance, how far something is from each other. So you could use that to determine how far maybe Buffalo is from Syracuse, and you would use that guide to help you. So that's the key or the legend. Now the compass rose, or the rose compass, is here. And again, it tells you north, south, west, or east. So north on this map would be pointing up. Okay? So if I'm looking for a state in our United States of America that's in the northern part of our country, I would know that I have to go north or up on the map. And we can say that North Dakota, Minnesota, Montana are all states in the northern part of our country. If we wanted to find a state that's in the southern part of our country, well, we would come down, okay? We would go south. Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, those are all southern states. And then we, in New York, are on the eastern part of our country, and we're also up north. So we say we're part of the Northeast. So you can live in two different directions, I guess you could say. We live in the northeast part of the country. Florida would be the southeast. All right, so that's just a way we can use the key and the legend on a map, and also how we use our compass on a map. And you can see that this map down here, this isn't just of our country or our or even our continent. It's a world map. And here's my friend. I think I'll name him Tommy. Tommy's here to help us, and I think he'll do some traveling with us as we go around over the next few weeks and explore different parts of the world. But he's helping us today by indicating this black line on the map is the equator. And we know, and we've talked about before, that the equator is an imaginary line. It doesn't exist. It's just there for our reference. So we have an idea of how our planet Earth is divided into the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. And that line indicates where that division is, where those two sections break from each other. So the other thing we know about the equator is, like I said, it's imaginary. So when we're looking down from outer space at our planet Earth, we cannot see that line. You guys also remember that this is not what our Earth looks like. It's not all these colors. It's not colorful from outer space in the sense that there's orange and blues, well, I should say purple. When we're looking at our world, our planet from outer space, it's a lot of green, blue, brown, right? And it's usually you'll see white covering, and that would be the clouds. And I couldn't find my beautiful Earth picture. I think it's still at school. But so this is a representation of our world. It's a world map. Right? So we moved from our country's map to our world map. And before, when we were looking at New York, that was our state map. So you can see how there's more detail as we get more land coverage, if that makes sense. Okay, and then you can look down here, if Laura will pan down over here. This is another map I found in my basement, actually, and it really doesn't have a lot of detail. It's very basic. There's not a lot of specifics on this map, but it does tell us important information still. It labels our 7 continents, and each continent is represented by a different color on this map. And again, looking from outer space, we're not going to see that North America is bright green or South America is light blue, okay? But it does give us an idea of our continents, where they're located, and it's just, I thought, kind of neat and just a simple way for us to remember there are 7 continents. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. North America is the continent that we live on. South America is to the south of North America. Africa, which we've spent a lot of time talking about. Europe, we've talked about Europe recently. Asia, Australia, and Antarctica. So those are our 7 continents. So even though that map doesn't have a lot of detail as our other maps have, it still gives us good information. So before we finish up with our map unit today, and hopefully you guys, this is review, some of it should be review, some of it is new. I told you that Mr. Bowman loves to collect and save maps. So here are just 2 maps I pulled out from the basement. This is actually a map of an aquarium. So when you go someplace, I think even like Seabreeze or Darien Lake, you can, when you first walk in and you move through the entrance, a lot of times they will have park maps accessible for you. That means you can get one and it will tell you where the rides are, where the food is. That way you don't waste time walking all the way around the park just to find the one thing you're looking for or that one great ride you're trying to get on. The park map would help you do that. So this is a map of an aquarium that we visited, and when you come in, here's the entrance, and it's giving you an idea. And right down here, actually, this is important. This is the key. So this is the symbol for restrooms. So if you're looking for restrooms, you can locate that same symbol. There it is. So if you needed to go to the bathroom right away when you first got into the aquarium, you would know, oh, quick, we can go here, or we can move over to this building. So that's helpful information. If you needed first aid, if someone got hurt, you needed a Band-Aid, you can locate where that would be in the aquarium. This tells you where the water is, where the audio guide is, where you can find a telephone, just in case we all didn't have our telephones with us. And then here, the symbol for, I think it's a fork and a knife, tells you that's where food and drink. So that's the restaurants where you can go eat. And then each of these circles obviously tells you what kind of marine life, because it's an aquarium, that you would find at this particular place. So I thought that actually was a really cool map. Again, it's not overly detailed, but it tells you the information you need to know so you can go see the animals that you want to see and then go eat where you'd like to eat. So I like that map for sure. And then one last map. And I chose this primarily because it's a place that as a family we love to visit. And it's a place called Chatham, and that is in Cape Cod, Massachusetts. And this is just a map of the town. So remember, maps can be of your neighborhood, they can be of your town, your city, your country, just a single place like an aquarium or an amusement park. But this is a map of a town that we love to go visit. And you can just see it. It's got various places that we like to visit. Here's the key. It even says key on it. And there probably is a compass here as well. Oh, there it is. They actually disguised it as an anchor. So sometimes you'll see that people who design maps get cute and clever with how they do things. And I like that because this is a town located near an ocean. So that's pretty clever, right? So those are all the different types of maps you might find. There's so many, and there's so many great maps, and I really enjoyed looking at maps. I like to see all the different places we can go. Today, maybe we'd want to go someplace closer to the equator with our friend Tommy, because we know that for the most part, any country or continent that's closer to the equator is going to be much warmer, right? As we move away from the equator, as we move south, it gets very, very cold. The most frigid place on our planet, Antarctica. And as we move north away from the equator, it also gets much colder, right? And we know we have seasons. So that's a whole nother topic though. So for your guys' homework, if you're so inclined, I would love for you to draw your own map. I spent some time this morning just drawing a map of my neighborhood. So this is where I live, and I've got my key down here so you can tell what all of these things are. You know, Mrs. Bowman is not a great artist, but I try my best. So I made sure to include my key so you would know what these things were. So the blue squiggle line is a stream. We have a stream that runs through our neighborhood. We also have trees. So we have little patches of woodland area and swamp area in our neighborhood, right when you turn into my neighborhood, and also in between our two cul-de-sacs, okay? When you enter my neighborhood, this shows you that you can't get out and go into any other neighborhoods or onto any other roads. We have two long roads that end up in circles or cul-de-sacs, so you have to go back the way you came in. Then these little squares represent houses. So you can see this is how many houses are in my neighborhood. This here, it kind of looks like a candle, but that's a light pole. So when you come into my neighborhood, you'll see a light pole there. So at night, it's not so dark. You'll know that there's a lighted area when you come into my neighborhood at night. And then this X marks the spot. That's my house. So in my neighborhood, you can see as you come in, and here's my compass, as you travel north and east, going northeast, I X'd my house. So that represents my house and my neighborhood. So that's the map of my neighborhood. So what I would love for you guys to do, if you have any kind of paper, crayons, pencils, to draw a map of your neighborhood and include some of those special features. Maybe you have a store near your neighborhood. Maybe you have fire hydrants near your neighborhood. Maybe you have a park. Like, I thought about doing a map of our school, and I would have included our playground because that's really important. And also the fact that we have, neighbors. We're in between two parallel streets. I think that's really important. You could include that. Any kind of details that you wanted, you could include the parking lot. So I guess I'll give you a choice. You can draw a map of school, or you could draw a map of your neighborhood, whichever you prefer, okay? Take a picture of it, send it to me on Dojo, and we'll make sure you guys get your points. Happy Friday. Maybe you'll even go out and play in the snow today. I don't know, but we'll see you next week. Love you guys. Bye.